Good day, chat, and I have something which really annoyed me today. I made a video on my main channel talking about the life of a Twitter employee, and apparently there is another YouTuber which gave his personal take on the video. And they said that, no, that video is a commercial. Like, it's an ad. It's not something that the actual Twitter employee released out of their free will. And therefore, I am wrong. And I'm thinking, like, how the fuck do you know? Like, what is your evidence? And even if that was an ad in order to try to get the Zoomers to apply on Twitter, how does it change the main point of contention which I had, which is that American corporations are infantilizing their employees. They're treating them like fucking children. But there were also some interesting points that were made, which is the fact that universities are trying to give a very expensive, lavish lifestyle to students. So now companies, they're trying to outcompete with universities. And I guess it's due to the political correctness and stuff like that, so that you need to add activities that aren't offensive, right? Like, you can't add some contact sports or something like that because that's not inclusive. So instead you add a ball pit, you add, I guess, some Nerf guns or other things that are very distractive for the actual employees, right? Here in Eastern Europe, like, if you want to add something in a corporation in order to attract the employees, like, you can add a gym. There are many companies that have this, right? So, like, after work, you go right into the gym, you do a little bit of exercise, or before work, and that actually increases the productivity of the workers. Definitely a lot better than, Nerf guns and shit like that. Should I hide the light stand? I think that the light stand is actually cooler, but there you go. I can do this if you want. Here we go. We got the bisexual lighting going on. It's like I'm a Twitch streamer. I guess if I was a lady, if I was an ushikushi lady, I would have managed to get this down a lot better with the lighting. So, if I have a gym in my home, I actually used to buy a couple of equipments. My wife also liked them, but the thing is, like, when you buy, like, let's say you buy a treadmill, right? And you're in your house, you install the treadmill in your house. Biggest mistake ever, because you're not going to use it that much, and then it takes up so much space. And it's just, like, not good. It's, just go to the gym. Don't make your house into a gym. It's not a good idea. It's like another thing with people who buy a swimming pool is the biggest mistake ever, right? Like, you keep seeing in movies, usually people having swimming pool. Breaking Bad, famous TV show for showing a swimming pool. Everyone that buys a swimming pool, as far as I know, literally everyone is very unhappy. Incredibly unhappy. Because it takes a lot to clean it, and most people don't use it besides once or twice. It's very expensive. So if you want a swimming pool, just go out and get to a place that has a swimming pool. Like, there's many hotels, for example, which allow you to use their swimming pool if you pay. So yes, how many people do have a swimming pool, though? Like, how many people do have it and they're happy with it? Like, how many people actually use that swimming pool is what I'm curious. Swimming pool is for guests. I guess, like, if you're a very large family, if you're connected, if you have, like, 20 guests per month, yeah, sure, a swimming pool is a good idea. But other than that, I don't think it's a good idea. If you have a spare room, why not? Because you're going to take up the entire room. But, like, yeah, if you live in a mansion and you have, like, a spare room, you can make a gym, but, like, you're not going to use it that much, trust me. I have a pool, but I never use it. Yeah, that's the experience of every single pool owner ever. Another problem is the barbecue. Like, a lot of people buy expensive grill, and then they don't do the barbecue. Like, they do it once a year or something like that. Dude, Yogoza, I'm doing the Twitch experience right now, alright? In case I ever get banned from YouTube, I will have the ambience required in order to start streaming on Twitch. Hello, Alkai from Poland. Everyone I know with a swimming pool is constantly inviting me over to use it. Ah, yes, the struggle is real. The desperation speaks the truth. All right. So, what should we talk about? Because we got a couple of subjects before we go into the nitty gritty. There have been a couple of happenings today. This one is the most interesting one. So, Kanye. Kanye. You know, I actually thought about the name Kanye. It actually means, like, his name is Ye, right? And he added Kang in front of Ye, so I think it actually means King Ye. This is how you actually wanted to come up with, like, Kanye. So, this is the best news ever. So, Adidas, right, drops Kanye. I mean, this was hilarious. Now, the reason it's interesting is because they lost quite a huge chunk of their profits for doing this. So Kanye used to be the wealthiest black person in the United States. In history, not just now, right? Richest person in US history, which is black. And of course, gotta keep the black man down, I guess, right? So Adidas terminates Ye partnership. Now, what's interesting is that this is, from what I've seen on the internet, around like 30 to 40% of the profits of Adidas. Like, this is huge. Huge. So, the level of pressure that Adidas had to come under in order for them to make this decision is insane. Now, this is the funny part. They will continue to sell the Kanye Adidas, which, let me see if I can find it. So they will continue to sell the model, but without the Kanye name. And I'm looking at the shoe. And the shoe is so freaking ugly, man. Like, the only reason that I would buy it is, like, if you want to support the person whose name is on the logo. It's kind of like if you like a VTuber and you buy their merchandise just to support that VTuber. Like, you don't really need the merchandise, but it's like, kind of like buying Quartering's coffee, right? Like, maybe you don't really want that coffee, like, maybe you have another, but it's like, you want to support the Quartering, so you buy the coffee. Like, buying AOC's $50, what is it, t-shirts with Tax the Rich, right? You do a self-tax on yourself by buying her t-shirt. It's kind of like that, right? I'm really curious if people will buy these. They look absolutely ugly. I mean, as far as shoes goes, like, apparently Kanye designed them, but they look freaking ugly. And I'm genuinely curious if, like, if they remove the name, if people are still going to buy it, especially due to the recent controversy and whatnot. But yeah, so I was really shocked when I noticed just how much money they were losing, because I didn't know, like, I legitimately didn't know, and the level of pressure they must have been under, Jesus. This looks like some futuristic 80s Back to the Future shoes. Yeah, it's kind of like when people were in the 80s or the 90s and they would imagine how the future would be like. This is the type of shoes that they imagined people would wear. Those socks. Yes, it's an actual ad. By the way, I want to point out something else that I noticed. There is a way to tell if the trending tab on Twitter is legit or if people are tinkering with it. So, for the last, I would say, 2 weeks, no, actually, ever since Elon bought Twitter, like, ever since that fateful day, I looked at the trending tab, and this is what I see. Every single day, every single time, right? Goku is trending. Every single day, like this right here, right? Like this right here. This tells me that the search results are not being fucked with. That the trending is legit. If I ever see Goku disappearing from the trending, that means that someone is tinkering with the trend results. So, like, this is the standard. This is the witness that you need to have. Like, if Goku isn't there, something is afoot. right? Like something is wrong if you don't see Goku in the trending tab, which is kind of bizarre because from what I understand, like trending means that people are speaking about the topic more than they were speaking about it yesterday, and for some reason Goku is still sustainable. Oh my god. Here we go. Japan is saying, this is not Japan, by the way. This is the United States. Like in Japan, it's even worse. But like in the United States, I see Goku trending every day, all the time. Which kind of begs the question, what are people talking about? Like, it's not even live now. Like Dragon Ball Super is on hiatus. So why are people talking about Goku every fucking day? Yeah, Goku can give you renewable energy. It is so freaking bizarre because there used to be like so many trending things about LGBT and, you know, Black Lives Matter, and that's what used to be trending. But now I get Goku, VTuber model, Mizuyaki. Like I get sports, all these weird things. By the way, speaking of all these weird things, Wakanda is coming out. Or is it out? I have no fucking idea. I think that the new Wakanda, like Wakanda 2, is not going to do well. The first Wakanda was great because it catered to identity politics on race. And that does well. Like, if you cater to black people, you can get really good money. But when you push feminism, you don't get good money. I don't know why. Like, it's the public, basically. It's the free market. Almost every single movie that I saw, which was pushing... It's not even feminism. It's not like they're pushing for women. They're pushing for this Hollywood version of what they consider to be a strong woman. So when a movie does that, automatically it fails money. Like, look. Charlie's Angels, right? Failed. Star Wars with Rey didn't do well. Female Ghostbusters failed. Battlefield 5 with the woman with the claw hand on the box failed. Like all of these movies that cater to feminism, they end up not making money. All of them. I don't know why. I genuinely like if you cater on race, like if you're appealing to like black people, you can make money. Black Panther is an example, right? So they decided to replace the Black Panther. They decided to replace him with a woman. I don't think it's going to. Maybe I'll be wrong, right? Like I don't know yet. Apparently, there's already a review of it. Oh god, I don't know. I just think it's not going to be as popular as the first one. But one of the producers, they wrote that Wakanda 2 is like The Godfather, which is what I'm going to make a video on. Hold on, let me just put it like this so I can see myself. All right, there we go. Perfect, much better. Let me show you this absolute beautiful gem. Marvel executives say Black Panther and Wakanda Forever is like The Godfather. And I'm thinking like, okay, so are you trying to say that Black Panther is a criminal? Are you trying to say that Black Panther is a criminal? Especially, you know, the whole thing with the Black Panther, like they want to create like a mythos, for I guess like black people in the United States, because like people in Africa don't really relate to this, but The Godfather wasn't a very charitable interpretation of Italian culture. You know, it wasn't. When you look at The Godfather, you don't think like, yeah, you know, this defies Italians. This is what every Italian is aspiring to be. Mamma mia. You know, like, no. So, what I like the most is that they're not comparing art with anything that came out 10 years ago, right? Like, it used to be that they would compare movies to recent movies. Like they would compare stuff with after The Matrix came out. Like they would constantly say, oh yeah, well, like our movie is like The Matrix because it's got bullet time and stuff. What other Aliens? Right? Like when Aliens came out, a lot of movies would compare with Aliens and blah blah blah. Now you have to go all the way in the fucking past in order to compare yourself with the classic. And by the way, the reason Godfather the movie was so good is that it stood to the source material, right? Like Godfather the movie wasn't for a modern audience, wasn't for a global market, didn't promote divorce. No, it was like, okay, let's read the book. All right, like what's in the book we're going to have in the movie. Something tells me that the executive hasn't actually seen The Godfather, only heard about it from someone. Yeah, probably. Probably. It's kind of interesting, like Wakanda Forever, like you could compare it with Wakanda 1. Like the first Black Panther movie, it was a commercial success. It was a cultural success in the United States. Why would you choose to compare it with something else entirely that has absolutely nothing to do? And in fact, it's a even uncharitable comparison. Like even if it was true, that wouldn't be a good idea. Because again, like you're making Black Panther sound like he's a criminal. Like his entire family is part of a criminal organization. Which, I mean, look, his family is part of the royalty, you know, Casa Nostra and all that, but come on. I think the script writer was aiming for something else over there. Mario Puzo is spinning in his grave. Oh my god. Yeah, is it because he's black? I don't know. I would really like to ask this executive a couple of questions. Wakanda Forever is the Odin of God of War. I am playing God of War right now. So I don't want any spoilers. Hello, Spoon. I don't want any spoilers. So far, I guess like 2 hours or 3 hours in. The game isn't bad. I'm happy with it. I did notice, you know, I can't help it. I'm with the noticing. I'm with the noticing, which begs the question if it's intentional or not. Probably, like, this is something very interesting, right? Is it intentional? So, the Aesir, the bad guys, let's put it like that, they're all white, every single one of them, with beautiful faces and all that, right? And they're the bad guys, and the good guys are very diverse. Like, they have diversity. And, yeah, I mean, it begs the question, is it intentional? Did it just happen, or is it... Now, I will tell you why I think it may be intentional. They did the same with Star Wars, if you guys remember. Like, the Empire, all white people. Every single one, except Finn, and Finn defects. And the Resistance, very diverse. Now, you may think it's like, okay, well, no, it just happens, you know, it's the choice of casting, blah, 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 blah. But there was a leaked script from the Powerpuff Girls. So they tried to make a Powerpuff Girls TV show. And what ended up happening is that all the Powerpuff Girls were diverse, right? Because you can't stick to the actual comics, or the actual cartoon. So all like you had one Powerpuff Girls. I think Buttercup, she was black. Blossom was Asian, and Buttercup was white, right? So, and when you look at the script, the way it says is that every Powerpuff Girl can be any race, or they can be any race, right? Like that was in the script. So if you wanted to hire an actress for a Powerpuff Girl, you could just literally go whatever. You could cast a Hindi, you could have the only person which actually had a fixed race, like someone who was in the script, was the son of Mojo Jojo, which was the villain. So the villain was a straight white male. Like, he was the only one in the entire show which had a fixed race. Everyone else could have, like, you could have hired any actor for whatever. And by the way, like, I found out that this is how Hollywood does it, which is why they don't really write interesting stories anymore, right? Like, they don't... It feels like a color swap. It feels like a color palette. It doesn't really feel like when they're casting a woman that, you know, that character is, like, legitimately acting in the same way a woman would act in that situation. Or like they can cast a black person and they act exactly the same as anyone else. It's because the script is written, and then the people writing the script, they do not have like the name of the character. They just have like, okay, this is character A, and then the casting team decides what race and sometimes even what gender the character A gets to play. Like, that's how scripts are being written now, right? So they will write it, and this is why they can't do romance either. Like, name me the last Hollywood romance which appeared in the last 5 years. Like, all the romance is fake, is forced. You don't get the Disney movies anymore. You don't get the love of Disney princesses. Like, if you want to see romance, you have to go and watch anime. And by the way, ESG, like, it's not really like that. Like, a lot of people just put a lot of emphasis on the ESG thing. No, it's just like they want to skim money on hiring actual talent. So they will hire bad writers. They will hire, like new faces that don't ask for a lot of money to pay the bills. And that's why you have all these awful stories. Is it dumb to buy Bitcoin today? Oh my fucking god. Do you know last year what I have been through, chat? Do you have any idea the hardship that I went through? So last year, every single day, almost, without exception, there was a chucklehead weaseling into my DMs trying to convince me to buy some fucking coin or some shit, right? Whether it was Luna, Terra, Bitcoin, I don't fucking know. Like, esoteric shit. And if I didn't want to buy their crap, they started getting angry with me, right? Which, first of all, I have a mortgage to pay, right? Like, if I have to pay a mortgage, I'm not going to invest in anything else until I finish paying the mortgage. So once the mortgage, like in order to invest, you need to have money. And until I finish paying my fucking mortgage, I'm not buying any coin. Okay, with that out of the way, even if I were to have money to buy coin, I would never buy any type of like online currency, right? Like Bitcoin or no crypto. And I'll tell you why. Like, this is my life philosophy, and it has served me well. If you want to adopt it, be free. If not, just whatever. But you're not going to convince me otherwise. Every single economic business plan which comes with an ideology is going to fail. Like, throughout the history of mankind, this has been the case. I don't know a single example where you had like this business ideology, this business proposition backed up by an ideology which ended up being successful. So the way people were selling crypto was like, oh, this is going to be revolutionary. It's the Jesus Christ. They're going to save us from the evil politicians that want to take away our stuff. And crypto is the Messiah. They're the Jesus Christ. Like, if you don't buy crypto, the world is going to shit. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not buying crypto. Like, throughout time immemorial, there have been three things that always had value: bullets or arrows, depending on which time period you're in, land, and property, right? Like, actual shit. Like, also gold and silver, right? Like, all of these things throughout human history, at no point in time were they worthless. Crypto? Oh, if the power goes out, if you're in Ukraine and the Russians bomb the power and you have no access to the internet, how much money do you have? Where's your wealth? If you have silver in your house, you have silver. Like, that's... If you have land, well, you have the land. But if the power goes out, where's your crypto? What you got? Where is it? Well, so that's my statement. You know, like silver, any country, anywhere around the world, it has value. Women have value as well. That is correct. Food. Well, the thing with food is that, yes, you know, like, food also has value, but the problem with food is that it spoils. So at one point, you know, it's perishable. But if you buy land, you can grow the food. And if you can't grow the food, you can rent the land to someone else and you still make money. So, like, instead of investing in crypto, like, I would... and this is the thing that really bothered me. It's like all these people that were trying to push me to invest in crypto, I was like, okay, let's say I have $5,000 of investing, right? I can either buy land or I can buy crypto. I choose to buy land. Why is that a bad choice? Not a single person could articulate it. Like, not a single person could tell you, like, no, you shouldn't buy land because X, Y, and Z, and instead you should buy crypto. Not a single person told me why. It's like, let's say I have $30,000 and I want to invest. I want to buy a one-room apartment and rent it out. Why is that a bad choice? No one can tell me. Absolutely fucking no one. So yes, yeah, farmable land, literally. You buy farmable land, and then you rent it away to some other person. They pay you a monthly fee. There you go. McDonald's is not food, I see. There is no better investment than land. Why, thank you. I guess, you know, like the thing with the land, I'll give you this. Like the thing, there's different investments for what you need, right? Like why are you investing for? Like, are you investing money so that when you're old, you have something? Are you investing money for rainy days, like the economy goes to shit? Are you investing money to pass inflation? If you invest in land, it's kind of difficult to sell. Like, if I need money tomorrow and all my money is invested in land, it's going to be difficult to monetize that overnight. If I invested it into silver, it's a lot easier to get rid of the silver, right? So on and so forth. So it really depends. But like, yes, at no point is investing land going to be a problem. I bought land 10 years ago. Throughout the pandemic, it jumped in market value 65%. Yeah, I know. Like, the best type of land you can buy is if you scout the market and you find out in which place a city is starting to develop. So, like, basically where the rich people are going to live. And you buy the land, like, 2 or 3 years before, if you happen to know where the city is expanding. And then when it finally expands to your land and you have all of these rich people with villas and shit, then your land just skyrockets in value. It just explodes overnight. Selling land was easy a year ago. I've had multiple neighbors. Well, it depends on the place you are, right? But like, usually if you need money and it's because there's like a widespread economic catastrophe like the pandemic or something like that, it's a lot more difficult to sell it. I am glad my parents own a house. Says Suit Life of Dio Brando. All the billionaires are going to Montana and Idaho. Yeah, if you can buy land there, or if you could buy land there like 5 or 10 years ago. I mean, now it would have been worth probably more than 5 times of your investment. So taxes also skyrocket. I mean, I guess it depends. You know, like the good thing about Romania is that the taxes for property are very, very cheap. I mean, my tax for property is probably like less than 0.5%. I would have to check. I usually pay them in January for the entire year, but they're very, very cheap compared to other countries. Anyway, let's go into the actual story. And here we go. Let's pop out the chat. I'm reading from Kotaku. Holy shit. Kotaku. What Gotham Knights and Shrek 2 have in common? I can tell you what they don't have in common. Almost everyone saw Shrek 2. Almost no one wants to play Gotham Knights, but okay. So, Manga creator demands Elon Musk pay him $1 billion for posting cringe meme. Babe, will you please turn on Google Maps? No. Ancient instinct will guide me. Oh my god. Hold on, let me check to see if Kotaku has posted anything that I can show on YouTube, because they're renowned for being a degenerate website which actually showed underage pornography. I'm not kidding, Kotaku did that. So they they found Misty from Pokemon in certain indecent exposures, and they posted it on their site. Turns out Misty was carbon dated under 18, and that caused a massive controversy on the internet at the time. In between attempting to post through being tarred and feathered for transforming Twitter in the world's silliest pay to win. I love how detached from reality video game journalists are. So first of all, there is such a thing as YouTube Red. There is such a thing as paying to be a fact checker for Facebook. It costs, I believe, $100 just to be reviewed by their committee. People had to pay around $15,000 for the blue check mark before this. So I don't see the problem. You know, all of a sudden, oh, it's Elon Musk. Oh, it's pay to win. And not to mention, like, why should he be... Like what I think it really upsets them is that Elon Musk is trying to bypass the advertisers. Right? Because you really can't have your own company if you're beholden to advertisers nowadays. Because it's too easy for the activists to pressure the advertisers to drop you for ideological reasons. And you can notice, like, when Twitter was accused, like, there was this massive scandal on Twitter a couple of years ago. So there was this kid who pointed out that there is a sex tape of him on Twitter, right? So, when he was underage, he had like coochie with someone else, and that got videotaped. And now the kid was 18, and people were posting the videotape when he was a kid on Twitter. So he goes to the Twitter Trust and Safety and goes like, "Can you pull this out?" And Trust and Safety says, "No, that's no problem. Like, there is nothing wrong with that post. It's perfectly fine. It can stay on our platform. Completely fits all of our regulations," right? So eventually they go to a lawyer and they go through the legal channels. And that's when Twitter finally takes down the post, right? But notice how no company had a problem advertising on Twitter. No company has a problem advertising on Twitter with Hezbollah over there, with other terrorist groups. Right? It's only when the activists kick up a stink about it. When the activists kick up a stink, that's when they care. So at the end of the day, it's not the companies that are like trying to maintain morality on social media. No, it's the activists. Everyone knows this. Hello, TNT, the legend. So yeah, like I get why Elon Musk wants to ask people to pay for the platform in order to bypass the advertisers. So the anime meme in question of crying Aya Asian girl asking the beard dude from those Yes Chat memes to turn on Google Maps. The joke punchline was that the chat man refuses because he prefers to let his instincts guide him. Naturally, Elon seems flooded both his low effort meme and subsequently we've all been there. You know, like, the thing is, this type of meme is very relatable because I genuinely know people in real life who, and this is, I don't know if it's a guy thing or not, but like usually the woman wants to ask for direction and the man just like, no, I want to discover it. Actually, you know what, Chad, this is something that I do. I'm not gonna lie, this is something that I legitimately do. If I am somewhere and I'm looking like in the supermarket, let's say I'm looking for the mustard, and I can't find the mustard, and my wife like wants to ask someone, I'm like, no, I shall discover the mustard. I will go on instinct. Why? Because it's the pleasure of the fucking discovery. It's the journey that is important. Like, I wanna discover it myself. I wanna feel the satisfaction of getting that mustard myself. Doesn't make any logical sense, but it is a fact of fucking life. It actually annoys me when someone takes that away from me. When someone goes and they ask, it's like, how do you get to the cafe, and I'm trying to find it, and I'm like, you know, doing myself, I'm going on instinct, and some asshole comes in and just like, I'll ask for directions. It's like, no, I hate you. Why'd you do that? Why'd you take it away from me? You know, because the journey, as Richard says, is more important than the fucking goal. And that is so absolutely true. So, yes, like, this meme is not supposed to be funny. This is a way of life for many people. A way of life for me. Assume it's the hunter, you know? I don't know why it is. Like, it makes absolutely no logical sense. There's no reason, there's no logic, there's no... Like, why do I do this? It's time consuming, it serves no one, but I feel gratified if I find it myself. I feel annoyed if someone asks for directions. So, apparently, Sato, the artist behind the Cry Gaia Asian girl's image, wants the world's richest man to pay him $1 billion for using the art without permission. Sato, it's called free use. It's called public domain. Well, actually, it's not public domain. It's free use because it's transformative. Elon Musk, the new CEO of Twitter, has reprinted my picture without permission. So please give me $1 billion for... How the fuck did he pull with that number as well? Like, how did he pull it out of his ass? In the reply, Sato tweet says that the mangaka posted panels from Magical Girl site, the manga from which the popular crying meme originates. Holy shit, don't go to that manga. It is one of the most fucked up mangas in the entire Japan. Like, it is really bad. It's not pornographic or anything. It's just a really fucked up story. Magical Girl site. Holy shit. It's kind of like a fucked up version of Sailor Moon, where the girls get power, but as they're using their power, their life force gets drained away, and like they start bleeding from their eyes, and many characters die in very painful and brutal ways, and there are levels of bullying that go overboard a little bit. Like, for example, this little girl, which is getting beaten up by her brother, like, constantly at home. Everyone hates her. People bully her at school. And she's got, like, this little kitten that she comes to every day to see it. And it's, like, the only moment of happiness in her life is, like, seeing the kitten. And the bully from school, like, finds out that she has a connection to this kitten. And the next day, as she's going to school, she finds that the kitten has been murdered. Like, that's the type of manga we're talking about. Like, the levels of fucked up, you know, is like... Dude... Relatable? No, it's not relatable. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, like, that girl is also, like, really nice. Like, she is very kind, compassionate, incredibly charitable. But yeah, so... And by the way, what I just described is just the beginning of the manga. Like, that is... Like, things only escalate from there. In the levels of fucked up. And it's like, just... Stay away from it. Is that the one where the pink-haired twin-tail girl that get her head ran over in a dirt track stadium after being crippled? I don't know. I've read it, I think like 3 years ago. Arch Warhammer exposed me to it. It started as a morbid fascination where I just wanted to see, right, like, well, where are they going to go from here? And I ended up in a very dark place, and I'm very happy that it's being erased from my memory. It's called Magical Girl site. Like, why do you want to know? No, Redo of Healer is very tame compared to this, trust me. Like, Redo of Healer is, like, low-level effort. You know, it's actually... Like, Redo of Healer is just a love story compared to Magical Girl site. Anyway, this isn't the first time that Musk has been called out for posting uncredited images. Dude, everyone posts uncredited images. What the fuck? Like, credits their memes. He posted a crop screenshot of its articles without giving it credit. Good. You should do more of that. The reason you're not funny is because you're woke, Musk wrote to Hard Drive. Humor relies in an intuitive and often awkward truth being recognized by the audience. Yeah, I mean, pretty much with this meme, right? Like, how many men don't want to find their own path rather than be told where to go? Even though it's completely irrational. Elon Musk's habit of not crediting artists fall in line with a tweet from 2019 in which the Emerald Mine profiteer claimed that online images exist to be stolen. No one should be credited with anything ever. Keep in mind that this is the same man who reposted Nier Automata 2B fan art without months of paying a settlement case. Oh, shut the fuck up. Elon did nothing wrong. Why aren't other people beholden to this standard? Like when you post a meme, if Kotaku posts a meme in their articles, like they need to credit it. They need to give credit to where it is. Shut the fuck up. Not to mention, aren't these people communists? Don't they want to share the wealth? They want to share the fucking wealth. Don't they believe that capitalism is exploitative? Why should you be paid? Should do it for free. For the community. You know what they got paid? You know they should pay. Elon Musk should pay them like a Sandpiper pays his editors in exposure. Man, like this is the thing on Twitch. I shit you not. So I know many YouTubers much bigger than myself, which do make money and they have cash, and they will pay people who work for them, right? Like if I were to grow my YouTube channel, kind of hard. If I were to, I would have to hire some artists to do some stream elements. I would hire some people to make me a background music, stuff like that, you know. And usually you pay them. Like that's the normal way you do business. You pay people. But when you look at Twitch, you have people like a Sandpiper. Like a Sandpiper is a billionaire, right? Like he can afford to actually pay people. But like on Twitch, everyone is like they're paying in exposure. Like you're a mod on that person, and you get the exposure of being a mod in their chat room. And this is like with a lot of Twitch ladies as well. Like they don't pay their staff. And to be honest, like many people want to do it just because, oh, well, maybe if I become her moderator, maybe if I become Amuran's moderator, she might be with me after she leaves her husband. My channel is perfect, dog? Why, thank you. But there is no such thing. There can always be improvement. The moment you believe you're perfect, there is no more room to grow. Why, thank you, Tomas. Tomas gave me the rect. I'm feeling a little bit better today, by the way. They paid them with 6. Sims being Sims. Man, I'm curious when the AI technology is going to kick in. And you're going to have more AI waifus in your pocket. Like, what's going to happen to all the e-girls? Like, it's going to be so interesting to see if their industry is going to be dominated by chatbots. I would love to see that. It would be hilarious as fuck. At Dungeons and Dragons conventions, we were volunteers for reference. Yeah, but like, when you go to a convention or something like that and you volunteer, it's like a one-time thing. I'm talking about like a full-time job. Like, imagine editing Hassan Piker's videos. Holy shit, like, you have to sit through that. And editing is like one of the worst parts of video making. Like, I despise editing with a passion. But you gotta do it, right? So, it's very time-consuming, it's meticulous, it's very annoying. Like, it's not hard, but it's something that you would rather not do. So, many YouTubers just hire an editor. And it's quite proper to pay such an editor. Like, if you're doing it. The AI-generated images. The AI-generated images. Right now, many people are complaining that it's copyright infringement. Because the way it works, like, you feed the AI many images, and then the AI uses, like, version of that images to create something new. And many people are saying that it's property theft. But they're not thinking out of the box. Like, in the future, you can have a game company which is hiring, let's say, 5,000 artists to just keep feeding into the database, and, you know, they sign a consent form that art now belongs to the company, and there you go. Now you have an AI which is not going to do property theft. But the thing is it going to replace real actors? I don't think it will replace real actors per se. But what you can do, like if you're a gaming company, right, and you have the technology to have AI that just spews out like various images, well, now you don't need 50 artists. Now you can have like two artists, and what they do is they type into the AI the type of character that they need, and then once the art comes out, they just tinker a little bit. Oh look, the AI messed up the hands here. The eye doesn't look proper, and then they just rearrange, they just correct the mistakes, and that's it. And you don't need a team of artists. So what will happen is the same thing which happened in medicine, as I mentioned before. If you would go to a hospital lab in the past, they had a team of chemists, usually 50, 100 chemists, which would work with the reactives, and they would try to, analyze the level of blood sugar in the patient and all of that. Now you have one chemist, maybe two, for the entire hospital, and everything is automated. Like, you have machines and computers that just spew results. And the chemist just looks at it, they check to see if the machines are running properly. They do every morning, like, they check to see if the reagents are up to standard. And you don't need it, right? So, like, what is going to happen is that the artists are just going to find less jobs. Like, it's going to be a lot more difficult to find jobs because there's going to be less artists required. Your left of F light is on. I know, it creates the atmosphere. They're not fair use, but they're also not copyrightable. Well, the thing is, if you are at a company, like let's say you're Ubisoft, right? And you're making now video games using AI. And you have like all these images spawning, and you hire an artist which just tinkers with the image a little bit. Like he moves the eye a little bit closer, he makes the titty smaller, for the modern audience and whatnot. Now it is copyrightable. Because it's transformative work which was done by a human being. So even if the AI is the one that generated the image, this was actually a big controversy, which had the legal ramifications regarding the monkey selfie, right? So the idea is that only humans can create art, which means that only humans can have copyright, rights for copying, right? Like a monkey, for example, if it creates art, it can't be copyrighted. So the question came regarding this picture. This monkey took a selfie, right? It's probably the only time it actually happened. So the person left the camera, and the monkey went in front of the camera, and it pressed the button, and it created a selfie. So many people took this picture, and the creator, the one with the camera, they tried to sue for copyright infringement. And a judge declared that no, this cannot be copyrighted, because even though it was his camera, the art was created by the monkey for pressing the button, and because the monkey is not human, it cannot have rights for its own intellectual property. So the same logic can be applied to a bot, right? Like a bot is not a human, so if a bot creates something, well, that art cannot be copyrightable. However, if, for example, in this picture, a man was to tinker with it, like let's say it added more contrast in the eyes, or it put a funny hat or whatever, then it does become copyrightable. Because you have done the transformation of the work, and now this particular new piece of work is copyrighted. And it's the same with the AI. Like if the AI generates this, and you would remove a tooth, or you make the tooth a little bit more sharper, like anything you tinker with it, it becomes copyrightable. Public property, yes. It's more like animal can't enforce it. No, well, the thing is, like, we only have rights for humans. Like, if a species of highly intelligent snakes came out from the desert, they've been living underground, and they have their own hyper-advanced cities, and they build fusion reactors and all that. They're like hyper-intelligent snakes, right? And they come into the desert. Any person with a shotgun can create a nice pair of boots out of those serpents. Even if they're intelligent, even if they can speak, even if, it doesn't matter, right? If Superman came on Earth, and let's say he doesn't have superpower, like a Kryptonian came on Earth without superpowers, if you murder him, that's not a crime. Like, you're not committing any crime, because we only have legislation that applies to humans. So the reason the selfie does not belong to the monkey is not because the monkey can't enforce it. is due to the fact that the monkey is not a human and therefore cannot own property legally. It's kind of the same like if a monkey has a golden nugget, right? So like a monkey finds a golden nugget and you steal it from that monkey, like you take the golden nugget away from it, it's not theft. Because the monkey, legally speaking, cannot hold property. Superman might fight back. What if he's a baby? Same reason they don't arrest birds for jaywalking. Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny because in the past they actually did. Not arrest birds for jaywalking, but there were pigs on trial. Like, there is a very famous case in medieval France where a pig ate a baby in a crib. So the parents, horrified, they, called the authorities and they said what happened. So the authorities got the pig, they dressed them up in human clothing, they had a trial, and then they executed the pig. There's also cases with mice, where the mice went on trial. Let me see if I can find it. Medieval times. So I got this, like when societies put animals on trial. Let me see if it's... So secular suits against individual creatures and ecclesiastic cases against groups of vermin. 1386, the old Norman city, a crowd gathered to witness the execution of a convicted murderer. Specters donned their best velvet and feathers. The prisoner was given a new suit for the occasion, and an artist memorialized the scene in fresco. For more than 400 years until the careless destruction in 1820 by a whitewasher. The west wall of the town church was a testament to the day that the incredible proceedings. The criminal was a pig which had indulged in the evil prosperity of eating infants in the street. So like this happened, like putting animals on trial, until people realized, okay, but that's kind of ridiculous. Like, we're wasting time here. What the fuck? So they decided that animals cannot have human rights. And if they can't have human rights, they can't have human obligations either. Wouldn't the owner of the pig be liable? We're talking about 1386 after Christ. like the concept of liability didn't exist back then. Not to mention, like, the world was much more dangerous in 1386. Like, you had the safety of the city, but like whenever you wanted to go and travel, like if you're a merchant and you wanted to travel between two cities, you needed an armed guard of mercenaries. And it wasn't just for other highwaymen and robbers. Like, no, the animals could attack you. like you were in danger from the fauna. And what's more interesting is that there was a really harsh winter when the wolves sieged Paris. Wolves siege Paris. Here we go. During the 1400s, the city of Paris was held under siege by a pack of wolves for 3 years that ended up with a climatic battle in the city's marketplace. The wolves were responsible for hundreds of deaths and were led by a massive wolf named Bobtail. People are like, I'm surprised there's a photo of him. But yeah, no, like... This is why, like, people weren't really shocked by the fact that, oh, well, a pig ate a kid or something. Because, like, death was quite prevalent back then. Especially by animals. Like, it was just a part of life. So, it doesn't really surprise me. There was also an emu war. I didn't know about that. It needs a movie. I don't know, like... The thing was... You say that, like, Paris is under siege and whatnot, and it makes you think that they were actually trying to fight the wolves. The problem is, like, no one was giving a shit. and it was just like the wolves wouldn't attack a single groups of people. But if you were like a lonely person on the street, then they would attack you. So like it's mostly because like there was no money invested and no political will to get rid of the wolves. That eventually, when people just like decided that enough is enough, they formed a gang and they managed to overpower the wolves. It would not be uncommon for a kid to wander out in the streets and just get eaten by wolves. This actually happens right now in some places in Africa, but it's usually with other animals like lions and tigers and stuff. Like you can Google it and you can see like people who die by wildlife. And there's a lot of big cats usually, but sometimes even crocodiles and other animals. Hippos. Hippos are actually one of the most dangerous animals. They're kind of more dangerous than big cats, I would say, because at least with a big cat, you kind of know where they are and stuff. But like a hippo has the power to rip a man in two with just a clench of his jaw. Elephants as well. Like, elephants are really fucked up. If you catch them in mating seasons, holy shit. I think the elephants in Africa are also more dangerous than the ones in India. So you have like the Indian elephant, which is actually a lot more tame and more reasonable, and you have the African elephant, which is really fucked up. And if you catch them in mating seasons, like those things can they can tilt over cars. They can destroy houses. No tigers in Africa? No, but they're in Asia, my bad. Pig eating baby in crib before parents can react is bad parents. Yeah, but you're thinking about it from a modern point of view. Like if you're thinking about it from the time period, which is 1368, year of the Lord, where people had like 10 or 11 kids, and usually the parents were out in the field non-stop, and it was like the elder brother that was raising his younger siblings. Yeah, it kind of starts making sense why your modern view of things doesn't apply. Because that's how life was at the countryside. Like at the countryside, usually the parents would wake up very early in the morning. Probably the first time the rooster sings, so we're talking 4 a.m., 5 a.m. They would have breakfast, and then they would go out in the field. And they would do whatever agricultural needs to be doing. And then in the household, you probably have like 6 or 7 kids. The younger kids were the ones that would start feeding the animals, start to clean up the house, and make food in the kitchen, and blah, blah, blah. And the elder son, usually, if he wasn't old enough to go to the agriculture, he was the one that was taking care of the other kids, like his other younger siblings. And he was also the one that would clean the stables and do the more difficult chores. So yeah, like basically the parents weren't at home, unless it was Sunday. Like usually Sunday was the day to church, and that's when... that's how things are in Europe. Like I don't know how things were in America. Like usually America skipped the 1,250 year of the Lord. They had different people living there. I was told medieval farmers could start whenever they feel like it. Oh yes, absolutely. Because the plants and especially the weeds, and the locusts and everything else, yeah, they wait for the farmer to start whenever he feels like it. Yeah, 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. That pretty much sounds right. Yeah, they would have like a little bag of something that they would eat. And they would also have like an axe with them. Like, I remember my grandma told me about this. Like they would have an axe with them in order to defend themselves if there were like an animal attack or something. The older teen kids looked after the younger siblings. In a few years, they would have children of their own. It was trading. Yeah, I mean, it was part of life, basically. It was expected that the older siblings would take care of the younger siblings because the parents weren't available. Anyway, right. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to make another video on my lack of entertainment channel. And hopefully, I will see you all there. Thank you for the 2 super chats. Really appreciate it.